The center court crowd was still buzzing. The defending Wimbledon champion had just been dethroned by a 21-year-old from a country where basketball hoops outnumber tennis nets 1,000 to 1. As Alex Eala walked off the hallowed grass, her face buried in her hands, the world had one question: who is this girl, and why is everyone suddenly obsessed with her? The answer isn't just about a single victory, it's about a story so extraordinary it reads like a Hollywood script. She grew up hitting tennis balls on a basketball court, dodging hoops that hung above her head. Her grandfather coached her every day after school, while she wore ruffled socks and light-up shoes. At 13, she left everything behind to join the Rafa Nadal Academy in Spain. 3 years ago, she received her graduation diploma from the hands of Iga Świątek herself, who told her to be tenacious. And now, she has become the first player from the Philippines to reach the second week of a Grand Slam in the Open era. This is the truth behind her incredible rise, and it will leave you speechless. To understand why everyone is talking about Alex Eala, you have to start at the very beginning. The Philippines is a country where basketball reigns supreme. More basketballs bounce on neighborhood courts in a day than tennis balls do in a month. Tennis has traditionally been a niche sport, played primarily by those with access to private facilities. But for Eala, the lack of proper tennis infrastructure was never an obstacle, it was a training ground. "I grew up on a court where a basketball court was painted over a tennis court," Eala revealed after her historic Wimbledon victory. "There would be basketball hoops. I couldn't really step back a lot because then I would hit the basketball hoop." Those humble beginnings became the foundation of one of the most remarkable rises in Philippine sports history. Eala was first introduced to tennis by her late grandfather, Roberto Maniego, whom she affectionately called Lolo Bob. Starting at just 4 years old, she trained under his guidance every day on the makeshift court. Her grandfather, despite having limited tennis knowledge, understood how to build an athlete. He had trained Eala's mother, Riza, as a swimmer before, and he brought in coaches to help develop his granddaughter's game. Watching from the stands during her historic run were her parents, Michael Eala and Riza Maniego Eala, who have accompanied her every step of the way. "They are everything," Eala said of her parents. "Not just in my tennis journey. They are my parents. They guide me on and off the court." Her father, Mike Eala, runs businesses in the Philippines, while her mother, Riza, is a high-ranking finance executive at Globe Telecom. But both find the time to be with their daughter in most tournaments she plays across the globe. "Every sporting parent will tell you there are certain things you need to commit to achieve bigger goals," Mike Eala said. "The bigger the goal, the more commitment, the more sacrifice you need to give up." Their sacrifice included enrolling Eala at the Rafa Nadal Academy in Spain, which is said to charge an annual tuition fee of $60,000. But the family never saw it as a burden. "It's almost hard to call it a sacrifice because we enjoy every minute being with Alex," her father said. At 13, Eala moved to Mallorca, Spain, to join the academy. The loneliness was crushing, but she was driven by a singular purpose: to become the best tennis player she could possibly be. She hung a photo of her idol Maria Sharapova in her room, and devoted herself to training. Eala's decision to join the Rafa Nadal Academy at age 13 changed everything. She enrolled at the facility as a prodigy in her own right, and she has never forgotten the impact of the legendary Spaniard on her development. "My idol is obviously Rafa," Eala said in a previous interview. "He's a very good role model, something a lot of people should idolize and try to be." She explained that she tried to mirror Nadal's approach throughout her tournaments. "The biggest thing I notice in Rafa is how he fights till the end, how his thoughts are so clear," Eala said. "He's so calm, but at the same time so fired up." Even after graduating, Eala remained close with Nadal, who continued to support her as she climbed the rankings. But perhaps the most poetic moment of her journey came 3 years before her Wimbledon triumph. In 2023, Eala received her graduation diploma from the Rafa Nadal Academy. The person who presented it to her was none other than Iga Świątek, the then world number 1 and 3-time French Open champion, who had come to the academy to speak to the graduates. "I hope you will be tenacious," Świątek told the assembled players. "I hope no matter what you do in the future years, if you're going to do it the best way possible, I'm sure you'll have no regrets at the end." Those words became the foundation of Eala's journey. 2 years later, she defeated Świątek on centre court at Wimbledon, and the two embraced once again, this time as competitors. It was a full-circle moment that seemed almost too perfect to be real. At the Rafa Nadal Academy, Eala developed herself into one of today's rising tennis stars. Joan Bosch, a veteran coach known for his work with former world number 1 Carlos Moya, became one of her head coaches and has since traveled with her on tour, helping her mentally prepare for elite competition. Eala first commanded global attention in March 2025 at the Miami Open. As a 19-year-old wildcard ranked outside the top 100, she stunned the tennis world by taking out Grand Slam champions Świątek, Jelena Ostapenko, and Madison Keys to reach the semi-finals. It was a run that announced her arrival on the global stage. After that breakthrough, Eala's rise was meteoric. She reached the world's top 30, claimed 2 titles on the second-tier WTA 125 tournaments, and finished runner-up at Eastbourne last year. In the build-up to Wimbledon 2026, she beat world number 2 Elena Rybakina and 8th-ranked Elina Svitolina in Berlin, and also teamed up with Venus Williams in doubles. She also won the WTA 125 title on the Birmingham grass courts in the build-up to Wimbledon. Eala's success has meant her popularity has skyrocketed. Queues snake around the Grand Slam grounds when she is scheduled on an outside court, while viewing parties are held for her matches back home. That brings with it a pressure both good and bad. If Eala's wins are celebrated as a point of national pride in the Philippines, then her losses are also felt deeply. It was a situation that got on top of her at the Australian Open, where she was overwhelmed by the amount of people who simply queued to watch her practice. But Eala has learned to handle the pressure. "I try to be as authentic as I can. I believe in being genuine," Eala said. "Although I'm very grateful and very welcoming of all the support that I get, me, my team and my family are the ones who have been putting in the hours. We are the ones who are here at the courts 12 hours in a row. We are the ones who wake up early, who come back home late. I think that work ethic is really what keeps me grounded." The defining moment of Eala's career came on July 3, 2026, when she faced defending champion Iga Świątek on centre court. The Polish star had won 6 Grand Slams and had demolished her opponent in last year's final without dropping a single game. But Eala was unafraid. The opening set was an 84-minute classic, with Eala prevailing in a tense tiebreak 11-9. The second set was a masterclass in dominance. Eala won 6-2, finishing with 24 winners to just 21 unforced errors, while Świątek committed 44 unforced errors and 5 double faults. She threw herself to the ground and covered her face with her hands after saving 4 break points before converting her 3rd match point. Świątek was gracious in defeat, later admitting, "Alexandra was more brave in important moments." With the victory, Eala became the first player from the Philippines to reach the 4th round of a Grand Slam in the Open era. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. congratulated her during an official state visit to Canada, calling her world-class and terrific, and saying, "There are days when an entire nation celebrates together. Today is one of those days." The outpouring of support from fellow athletes was overwhelming. Boxing legend Manny Pacquiao, pole vaulter Iga Świątek, and volleyball star Alyssa Valdez all took to social media to congratulate Eala. Eala's popularity has been compared to Pacquiao himself. "When he would have fights, it would really be like holidays in the Philippines," Eala said. "We would gather, and we would watch his fights. People would go off work. It would really be an event." A photo of Eala diving for a ball in the match against Świątek has made the rounds, with edits showing her wearing a cape and Superwoman outfit. After her victory over Świątek, Eala delivered a speech that broke the internet. "I went to train with my brother and my grandfather every day after school, with my ruffled socks, light-up shoes and chubby cheeks. To younger me this is everything," she said, her voice cracking with emotion. She dedicated the victory to her family, her countrymen, and all the girls with ruffled socks and chubby cheeks. Eala's visor is embroidered with the Tagalog phrase "kapag lumago, hindi na hihinto," which translates to "once it grows, it cannot be stopped." "I resonate with those words so much," she said. "More than being unstoppable, I think it refers to a dream and an aspiration to become unstoppable. Ever since I was young, I've always been such a dreamer." Despite the tears, Eala delivered a chilling message: "Because I'm emotional does not mean I'm satisfied. Next round, let's go." The truth behind her incredible rise is simple: she is the product of love, sacrifice, and an unshakable belief in herself. Her message to young athletes is profound: "I don't want them to look at me and say, I want to be the next Alex Eala. I want them to look at me and say, wow, I want to be the first me. I want to make my own path." As she said herself, "It's an honor to be able to pave the way for young girls. It would be the honor of my life to be able to inspire others." That is why everyone is talking about Alex Eala. Not just because she can win tennis matches, but because she represents something bigger than herself. She represents hope, resilience, and the power of dreaming. And the world is listening.